What is going on, everybody? It is Saturday, October 4th, 2000. And despite the Terps' continued letdowns in big games, it is good to be alive on a Saturday night here on the Flex Zone podcast. Only place giving you sports and Maryland Terps coverage how you want it, when you need it. And what you need right now is a little bit of therapy, a little bit of unpacking of just deja vu. Here we go again. New year, same results. And the Maryland Terps fall to the Washington Huskies by a score of 24-20. Get into, but housekeeping, if you can, if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up. Cost you nothing. Best way to support what we do here. Pushes us out to other Maryland fans to check out the great content we have here on the channel. Plenty of content to get lost into, so make sure you guys check that out. Let us know what you want to see with us moving forward. If you're watching this right now, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the game. You're watching this after the fact, do the same. Make sure you hit that bell to know when everything drops. And as always, let us know how you're feeling on X. If you're watching on X, come on over to what we do here on YouTube. It's the mothership. It's the best way to keep up with us. Come on over, subscribe, check us out. Let us know your thoughts. Maryland Terps post-game show. And make sure, like I said, you hit that thumbs up. And you let me know how you're feeling after this demoralizing 24-20 defeat. Where do we begin? Where we even begin right now? Because it feels like I'm watching another team that we cover on this channel, the Baltimore Ravens. They get out to a big lead. Everyone is excited. The offense looks unstoppable. The defense is, and then in the second half, the offense can't move the ball. The defense is gassed. They can't get a stop. Some unfortunate penalties against the Terps. A targeting call against Sidney Stewart. We had a taunting call against Dante Joyner, where he does the same celebration everybody does, a seatbelt. And he is flagged for a penalty because they thought he was, I don't know, it was celebrating with a dangerous weapon or something. Not being able to contain Damon Williams in the second half. Just a myriad of things, and we're going to talk about it. You know, we can start with the coaching. Mike Locksley was 0-9 coming into this game after a bye. Now 0-10 after the bye week. This was A great day for the Terps. We had a sellout in the show. Fans were there, alumni, recruits, boosters, the who's who of Maryland fandom and the Maryland culture was in the building today to root on this team. And for the first, what, 18, 19 minutes of this, really, I mean, excuse me, for the first really 45 minutes of the game, looked like Washington didn't even get off the bus. Like Washington was still on the flight into College Park and taking the bus to the game on today. Maryland had a 20 to nothing lead. Washington outscores them 21 to nothing in the fourth quarter. After Maryland had a 13 nothing lead at halftime, put up another touchdown in the third quarter. And like I mentioned, they were up 20 to 3 even. 20 to 3. Washington kicks a field goal. Then 21 unanswered in the fourth quarter, and it pretty much did them in. As you can see right here, we're going to get into the stats a little bit. I mean, you look at the drives. I mean, you look at the drives of this game. We'll just start there. You look at the drives of this game in the first quarter. Field goal, all of which we'll get into. Malik Washington, another rushing touchdown by the goal line. That was a 16 play, 71-yard drive. Then another field goal, 16 plays, 57 yards. And then we had the touchdown pass of his career. Then Washington kicks the field goal. And then once they got that touchdown to Boston, which was inevitably allowed to happen because of the taunting penalty on Dante Joyner, then we saw the just bomb over Joyner's head. Looks like he was turned around. He's already out of it. You saw him on the sideline. He's imploding. Mike Locksley looks like he's wetting his pants. The players are trying to get Joyner back in. And then Damon Williams and Coleman of Washington took over, along with Boston, the fabulous wide receiver. Three of the guys I talked about in my keys that have to contain all got off. And Washington escapes with a 24-20 victory. Now, there was a big drop by Farouk on the last drive of the game when they were trying to take the lead. A third down drop that would have put them in the red zone. 15 plus drops now, I believe, this season for the Terps. The most in the nation. The drops off of the bye week. They said they were on the jugs machine. Clearly, that didn't make a difference in winning time because this team still makes the crucial self-inflicted. Like I said, the drop passes, the penalties, the offense not being able to convert consistently. And it leads to a 24-20 loss, as you can see here today. Look at the box score a little bit. I mean, we'll look at the numbers. We'll look at the stats, but I mean, it was have what their first sellout since 2003. Turfsville, everybody who went to the game today who was excited, you guys deserve a round of applause because you showed up and showed out, especially in that first half. Then it sucks because, like I said, that Sydney Stewart targeting call. Now, it won't affect him playing next week against Nebraska since it happened in the first half. But the pass rush was non-existent because they were able to double team Zaire Mathis, who did have a sack today. They were able to chip him. They were able to put two guys on him at all times and able to limit this pass rush because outside of Mathis and Stewart, the pass rush is pretty much non-existent. Those two fantastic job, but you could see the defense was tired. Only had one pass rusher, and you could see the defense couldn't get a stop. The defense couldn't do anything that they needed to do to See, crowd, I lost. You see what happened with the. You lose a game like this, it crushes you. This is a game. Actual mistakes can happen, and it's no excuse for losing this game. It's no excuse for dropping this game. You had a chance to get to 5-0. You were up 20-0, and you end up losing 24-20. And now a lot of those fans who came out to the game are probably saying, "Oh, here we go again. Here we go again with the same old Terps. Here we go again." And it inevitably leads to another loss. As I said, the crowd was amazing today. Let's take a look at the crowd here today at the Shell, the first sellout, as mentioned, since 2023. Let's look at that real quick. In the first half, you could see the crowd was into it. You could see this was a big game, had a big time feel, and 2 weeks ago. And unfortunately, Maryland for this team is I mean, only score 20 points when you're up, like I said, 20-0, and you only score 20 points. The way the offense was moving, they still can't find a running game. And, that's something that's going to continue to happen. I don't know what is going on ability of this team. I don't know what's going on with their ability to run the football, but it is very troublesome because they're going to have to run the football to really show what they're capable of as a team. I really think that is going to hinder them because now they can't run the ball. They can't get the push they need to it. Pretty much Malik Washington has to drop back and throw 40 plus times. You don't want that consistently for a quarterback, especially a freshman quarterback, because he did throw an interception today. But a loss is a loss, and the drop didn't help. That was a crazy drop. Oh, hey, he was catching. He was the good hand. They had just showed him as the good hands player of the day, and he just had dropped the pass. He just dropped the pass. I mean, I agree. You guys said it in the chat. They can't sustain long drives. They have to hit a big play here or there. They have to rely on Malik to save them. Pretty much put on his cape, and that was not the thing today. And then you got to give Washington credit. It was an epic comeback. I agree. It was an epic comeback. Damon Williams is amazing. Coleman is amazing, and you said it even during the broadcast. You want to be the hammer, not the nail. And in the second half, Washington was the hammer, was the nail, and unfortunately, it leads to a loss, on which has turned out to be a crazy day in college football, to say the least, because we've had losses by Penn State's lost today. Texas has lost. What I've seen Ohio State is even down right now. So college football is crazy nonetheless, but you see it yet again, and it sucks for the Maryland Terps. Had a chance to get to 5-0, and tiebreaker over them. It's going to be intriguing to see how the rest of the season plays out, because you got to get right back to it next week. You got to play a Nebraska team who won today. You have to find a way to get back on the horse and really challenge yourselves to get win. And I know, it sucks. It sucks right now. Like I said, it pretty much sucks right now. And this is the play that blew me with the targeting, with not even the targeting play. This is the taunting penalty, and I'm gonna play that for you. And this was called a taunting penalty, something we see DBs do at every level in football now. So let's take a look at the taunting penalty, and you let me know what you think. So there you go. You saw it right there. Dante Joyner, he got flagged for that. Egregious call. Sidney Stewart got a targeting call. Like I said, he won't miss any time next week. But you saw the pass rush just wasn't the same. They were able to double team. They were able to double team this, and it kind of sucks there as well. And as mentioned, the crowd was kind of non-existent in the second half because you can even see it here, and I'll pull it up for you guys. It was pretty non-existent. You could see right then and there that it was pretty non-existent for the Maryland Terps. As everything is lagging, of course, after a tough loss. My internet wants to act crazy. I can't give you guys the best post game I want to give you, but let's see. Let's do this because this is getting crazy. Let me do this because I'm lagging. I don't know why I'm lagging. If it worked, there we go. All right, there we go. Let's do this. As you can see, this was the side by side view. The first half, first quarter, Maryland was up 10-0. Then the end of the fourth quarter, when Maryland was leading 20-17, the crowd seemed like they were pretty much done. We thought the game was over, and it sucks. It really does suck for Maryland because that just was a tough loss to say the least. And you just can't live you can't live life on the edge like that. You can't live life on the edge like that. And that's just kind of Terps football. Like I said, same old Terps. I picked them to win. I thought they would win, and unfortunately, that did not come to fruition. Looking at the box score here, as you can see, my player of the game is Damon Williams. That brother was 28 of 41, 275, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. In the first half, they held him pretty much in check. But you see in the second half, he got going. Jonah Coleman, 18 for 57. I think he got hurt a little bit, but he came back. He had a touchdown. The best touchdown scorer in position. He's going to play on Sundays. Damon Williams adding check for the most part. He just had a couple of gashing runs in the second half, which did him in. We saw that last drive where he, pretty much took he pretty much did a quarterback power, and no one was even near him on that side of the field on the left side, and he had a clear run to a first down, and he was able to take a knee, and that was pretty much all she wrote. But I mean, they held him to 3.2 a carry, 115 yards. They did a good job. But in crucial situations, right then and there, you saw kind of what happened there as well. So I mean, Maryland, they do what they always do. They make it look good, and then they let you down and take the heart out your chest at the last moment, and then you're on your deathbed. But Damon Williams, Coleman, they did great. Boston 6 for 71. They held him in check for the most part. Then he comes to life, gets the touchdown. Malik Washington 30 of 49, 219, 4.5 per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Dewan Williams 26 yards on the ground. Nolan Ray 17 yards. I don't know why Nolan Ray is not getting a lot of touches. I thought he would be a guy that would get more touches. This is something that kind of pisses me off. 20 carries, 55 yards. You got to be able to run the ball when you have a lead. You got to be able to kill clock. You got to be able to take the air out of the ball. You got to keep drives going. You got to be able to run the ball. And 20 carries, 55 yards, 2.8 an attempt, 1 touchdown on the ground. That was Malik Washington. That's not going to get it done. So it sucks. And I agree. It is coaching. It is coaching. Jed Fish did a hell of a job. He coached his ass off. His mom was there today, came down from Jersey. Washington's defense was fantastic in the second half. They were great like Maryland's defense was in the first half. Jed Fish's mom coach for the first time, or not for the first time, but she comes down from Jersey to team first road Big Ten game that they win. The adjustments, I always talk about adjustments in coaching, especially in that second half. Washington made it. Maryland did not. As mentioned, Mike Locksley now 0-10 off of the bye. Octavian Smith Jr. 3 for 57. Fleming 9 for 57. A big day for him with 14 targets. What do you have? I don't know how many targets he had, but his long was 14. Excuse me. Farouk 8 for 51. But that crucial drop was terrible because I think if he catches that pass, they're in the red zone. I think Maryland goes down and scores the go-ahead touchdown. AJ Samansky had his first career touchdown on his only catch for 2 yards. And Yeah, they really kept the Maryland receivers in check. I do give credit. Both defenses played really, really well. Maryland, especially in the first half, and Washington's defense in the second half was crazy. You look at it defensively. McLaughlin, I talked about him, the safety. He played well, 9 tackles. Devine Blant, 7 tackles. He was all over the field. They did a really, really good job. And Wingate, 10 tackles today. Colton Smith, 11 tackles today. Only what? Well, the Maryland did get to Damon Williams 3 times. Sidney Stewart had half a sack before he was unfortunately let disqualified for targeting. And we got to talk about that targeting rule, man. This targeting in college football's gotta be defined because we saw targeting last week with Penn State and it wasn't called after review. Does college football have it off of Maryland? I don't know because that taunting and that targeting call, 2 BS calls, and I showed you the targeting, the taunting call. Sidney Stewart had half a sack, Cam Rice had half a sack, and Zion Mack again, and Trey Riddick as well. Jalen Husky with the Mikel Esteen had one for Washington, so we were pretty much even there. Sean O'Hara did miss a field goal as well, so he was 2 for 3, long of 29, and he did make both of his extra points. McPherson didn't punt until pretty much the end of the third quarter. Then he had to punt consistently. They had a running into the kicker, not a roughing the kicker, the 5-yard variety instead of the 15-yard variety. But he's still averaging almost 50 yards a punt. Special teams is kind of, the best thing Maryland has this season. But let's look at the team stats because I do want to see kind of how they did. They were doing well. Was Maryland on third down? They were doing really, really well. Yeah, Maryland was 9 of 17 on third down. Washington 5 of 12. Maryland 1 for 2 on fourth down. Washington won like close to 100 in the second half. And Washington almost 400, 390 yards, 275 through the air, 219 for Maryland. And 115 yards rushing to 55. 7 penalties for Washington. Penalties are less, but one and Washington won the time of possession by literally what, a minute and some change. So it's definitely a thing of coaching. I think the inability to run the football, and I agree. Damon is fantastic. I said that in coming in. You can check my preview. I sung his praises. I thought he might hurt them a little more with his legs. They did a good job containing him, but no, no way that Sidney Stewart call didn't affect this game. And I agree. Washington has a really, really good coach in Jed Fish, and running back in Jonah Coleman. They got Denzel Boston. Their players, their playmakers made plays. It did not. Coaching, they made the adjustments and outcoached Maryland in the second half when Maryland was outcoaching them in the first half because Washington didn't even get off the bus. They were still asleep. And last but not least, self-inflicted penalties, whether they're correct or not, penalties and dropped passes. Now over what, 15, 16 15, 16 drops for Maryland this year. That is ridiculous, man. And yeah, like you said, Jeff Fish, Kalen DeBoer. They've had Michael Penix Jr. They got Damon Williams. They've had so many consistent teams, and even them moving to the Big Ten hasn't been a crazy bad adjustments. They have a great home field out in the Great Northwest, and they are going to be a team to be reckoned with. And this is probably where they expect to be, 4-1. They played Ohio State, gave them, and there you have it, right there. They get the big win of the day, and the loss. It's a heartbreaking loss for Maryland. Exception in the first quarter, which set up a Maryland field goal to give them a 3-0 lead. Husky was pumped up for the game, and he showed why he's one of the best DBs in the country, in my opinion, as well. And this defense of Maryland, still one of the best in the country, even though with a lot of young, unproven. Let's take a look at Huskies interception in the first quarter. Let's see here.
He's been all season, so some youth and inexperience on the left side of the Huskies.
3 tight ends in the game, and it's intercepted. He threw it right to Jalen Husky, and the Maryland native brings it all the way back to the 30, and a flag's on the field late, but Husky steps up.
That's where he's been all season, so some youth.
Right there, you saw Husky getting the big time play there. Now they did give one back, you know, typical Maryland. Maryland football giveth and Maryland football taketh. And in this course of today, 60 minutes of football, they took away a victory as well. And thank you, G. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for being here, man. Checking in. Shout out to all the Washington fans. You guys were very respectful, very, very good fans in the crowd. Weren't bragging and boasting, and they were rewarded with a big time win. I'm sure some of them traveled near and far. Some of them probably never thought they would see Washington play at Maryland. This is only the second time these two teams played in the Honolulu Bowl on Christmas with Boomer Esiason days when Maryland won. To be able to, or maybe I traveled from Washington, maybe I came all the way this way and they didn't get off the bus, and I was pissed off the first 3.5 quarters. But that's why they play the game 60 minutes until that final whistle is blown. You have to keep playing, and you got to keep your pedal to the metal, foot on the gas. So it Maryland, it does suck. Hopefully it leads to them being able to bounce back, because I thought they had to win at least one out of the next two. They have Nebraska at home next week, who won 38-27 over Michigan State. But it's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens there with them, because you got Damon Williams this week and Dylan Raiola next week. Now Raiola isn't the athlete that Williams is, and Raiola only had 194 today. So can they get after him? That's going to be a key. Keep him in the pocket, and we'll see what happens there with them as well. But it was interesting. It was interesting to see. Now I did like what Pep Hamilton did in the first quarter. He was unpredictable. He did bring a little bit of unpredictability, but it sucks. It sucks. It sucks to know, those types of plays, those types of calls kind of ruin the momentum Maryland every game, and it kind of screwed them. It kind of screwed them because they end up I think we're back. I think we are back. So it just it's like in there. Yeah, I mean you can look like Loxley looked. Dazed and confused and kind of wondering what the hell happened, because that's a tough loss. That is a tough loss for the Terps, and they got to get back at it next week. They got to get back at it next week. They host a tough Nebraska team. Nebraska is also 4-1. They coming in. They scored 38 today, so they are a high-powered offense. Can the Terps defense contain them? Like I said, Sidney Stewart will be back. Sidney Stewart will be there next week, but you can have look like you're on your way to 5-0, sold out crowd. I thought they had to win one out of the next two. You get to 5-1, 6-1. Really would have been 1-1 away from being eligible next week. Now you got to go back and beat a tough Nebraska team, and then you got to play UCLA, who just beat Penn State, who has momentum now, and they just won that first game of the year. So it is what it is. It sucks. It sucks. Oh, it really, really sucks because, Malik Washington saying all the right things. And, this is what he said. They were down and out, quoting the Bible verses. In a moment like this, when everybody's down and people are pointing fingers and saying this or that, we just got to understand as a team and as a unit that this is God's plan for us. Okay. I didn't know that was God's plan for you to be up 20 points and give up 24 unanswered, but, I'm not the man upstairs. We have to face adversity sometimes to come out of it stronger. Sometimes you got to break to stick to mend it back even stronger. I agree, but this team has had years of disappointment. Maybe the tide was turning. We thought maybe things would be different. It's not. It's not. It's it's the same thing. Like I said, maybe Loxley isn't the guy. 0-10 after a bye. Usually coaches are better after the bye because you have an extra week to prepare and you can get the proper adjustment. Can scout the team, and maybe the team played last week and they're a little beat up and you can jump on them like you did, but you got to close the deal. You have to finish the game. Like I said, it's like I was watching the Ravens. The lead wasn't safe. The offense went ice cold and the defense was and couldn't get a stop. So it sucks when you have losses like that. It sucks when your team continues to do the same thing. You beat and like I said, their best player with Malik Washington, with some of the players that they have, Mathis and Stewart. And this was through 45 minutes of football. Maryland held a Williams Jr. And, the seatbelt celebration, that's when turn, Mike Loxley said, and I quote, I thought he did the seatbelt, which everybody does. Brandishing a weapon, I guess it is what it is. I was told on the field, but those calls aren't the reason why we lost. I agree. There are more calls and reasons why you lost. They collapsed 24-20 midway through the third quarter and 24 unanswered points as well. They allowed 4 consecutive scoring drives in the second half as well. And it's 3 drives between that stretch. Maryland had just one first down. One first down. 2 straight 3 and outs. And the momentum, like I said, definitely switched from there. 39 rush yards in the first quarter. They had 39 rush yards in the first 16. I mean, it is what it is. And now Loxley did punt when they would have had a 4th and 3 from its own 45. And they put the defense back on the field. And the punt gave Washington the ball at the 20. And I'm not mad at that. It's okay. I get it, But they went 80 yards in 5 minutes to take the lead. And on 4th, finding anybody. A little bit of pressure. Got a little happy feet in the pocket. And there it is. It's only the second time in this decade CQ Stadium, and the energy was crazy. Like I said, he threw his interception, and the crowd was going crazy. But Maryland not being able to turn those opportunities into touchdowns, settling for field goal, and to stay in the game and having an opportunity. Now, Sean O'Hara did miss a 55-yarder. It was just short, and the targeting penalty from Sidney Stewart as well was very, very. Terps were 0-11 in their last 11 games following a bye week. This dates all the way back to 2016. Now 0-10 under Locke. He said, I don't think we did a great job in the bye week of managing success without the distractions and things that pop up. Loxley said, and now we want to see how we manage adversity. 2 early red zone opportunities, the second thing, ended with field goals, are potential points you lost out on, and kept Washington in the game, like I said. And then a big Now, Maryland has a very tough second half of the schedule. Nebraska got to go to UCLA, got to play Indiana, got to play Illinois, got to play Michigan, got to play Michigan State. It's not going to be easy, and you see it right then and there. So there's pretty much kind of what happened there. So. Yeah, that's you guys. Let's all right. I think I'm back, right? I think we're back. I don't know if I lost everybody, but my connection is like Maryland right now. It's letting me down at the most crucial moments. Let's hear from Mike Loxley after the game today. Let's hear what he had to say. Let's hear from Loxley. Let's hear from Loxley. And let's see.
Sure. Give credit to Washington, Coach Fish, his staff. Great ball game. What we learned today as a team is, you got to learn how to put people away, especially good teams like Washington. And when we have them here at home, speaking of home, I got to give our one hell of an environment for our players and make it a great environment for us. We're a young, talented, inexperienced team, but there's zero doubt in my mind that we're talented. And much like I said before, everything that we've made corrections with, we've seen them go execute. Today was the first day we didn't do it. We knew that it would come down to our skill today, running, blocking, tackling, catching, and throwing. And Washington did it a little bit better than us, and especially in critical situations where they needed to make plays, they did. These are great lessons for us. I'm looking forward to getting this stuff fixed with our team. We'll learn from this, and I expect this team to respond the right way. I told them in the locker room, we're going to learn a couple things about ourselves. One, how to manage success, which I didn't think we did a great job of it. That pop up, and we're going to have to see how we manage adversity, because this is the first bit of adversity we'll face together as a team with dealing with a loss. And I'm looking forward to seeing just how these guys respond. We got another great opportunity next Saturday here at the Shell against Nebraska, and I
There was Coach Mike Foss. Let me go back to him. Let me go back to get him up. Let me see. There we go. There we go. There we go.
And we'll be working to get us back on the right track. So with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Hey, Mike, in the second half and specifically late in the third and in the fourth quarter, you guys seem to abandon the run and tried to kind of generate or mimic that with passes and short passes. What was the decision-making process behind that to not try to do anything on the ground?
Yeah, I think for us, it goes back to we're an RPO system. We still have run pass options where today what Malik faced was at the end, they mixed between cover 2 and man. And so we got into if they're getting cover 2, we need to run it. If they're playing a little more man, then we've got to create and win one-on-one man battles, which today we didn't win enough of them and we didn't make enough good throws.
You heard there from head coach Mike Loxley after the loss, 24-20 for the Terps. Having some connection issues, so we're going to get that straightened out. But let's quickly go around the college football landscape. Crazy day today. Like I said, next week, 3:30, Nebraska. Don't know what I'm doing next week. We may just do a live watch along. We'll see. Next Saturday at 3:30. Very, very interesting. Very, very intriguing. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Make sure you guys tap in and let me know what you're looking forward to seeing next week with the Maryland Terps. Let's go around college football real quick. Let's go to the scoreboard. We'll quickly talk about some of the scores, and then I will get out of here. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell. Let's do this. Let's see what we got here going on. There we go. What we got going on here, college football wise? Let's see here. All right, what's going on? We got Houston trailing Texas Tech 22-3. Texas Tech 4-0, number 11 in the country. Ohio State up 14-3 over Minnesota, number 1 team in the country. Miami up 7. Florida State, number 3 and number 18. Florida State, tough loss last week to Virginia. Mississippi State with an early lead over Texas A&M. Oklahoma beats Kent State 44-0. UCLA, in a shocker of the day, gets their first win of the season. Beats a top 10 team for the first time since God knows when. Nico Aleava does his job. They win 42-37. Texas beats Florida as Florida beats Texas. Texas now with 2 losses as well. Alabama beats Vanderbilt 30-14. And don't look now, the Alabama Crimson Tide are on their way. Ty Simpson, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns as well. Georgia beats Kentucky 35-14. Cincinnati shocks Iowa State, who was 5-0, 38-30. Michigan 24-10. They get the 4-1 over Wisconsin. Maryland, we'll see them a little later. Notre Dame beat Boise State 28-7. Illinois, brother, thoughts? Where you at, brother? I told y'all gonna be all right. Luke Altmaier, 390 on through the air, 1 touchdown. Illinois does a great job there. Virginia beats Louisville to continue their impressive season, 5-1 with that win over Florida State. They're going to be in the mix for the ACC possibly. And BYU beats West Virginia last night as well. So make sure you guys haven't, if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell, tap in with us. Let us know what you're looking forward to seeing. Maryland loses, as mentioned. They get a tough loss, 24-20. They pretty much, wet the bed. They wet the bed. And looking at the Big Ten scores here, like I said, 20 points. I mean, you're going to have to score more than 20 points to win consistently. Your defense can only hold but for so long. But, looking at that, Maryland hopefully can learn, mediocrity, which we expected before the season maybe. Maybe they can use this to propel and be an inflection point of positivity for the rest of the season. But you look at the Big Ten, Ohio State, UCLA, you got Michigan, you have Illinois over Purdue, Washington over Maryland, Northwest over UL Monroe, and Nebraska beats Michigan State. So Nebraska and Maryland 4-1. So the loser will be 4-2. Not a terrible spot, but you want to win next week. You get to 5-1, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. And now going to UCLA isn't going to be as easy as you remember. They seem to have found a new life, at least this week. And then you're going to have to go to Indiana, I believe, or Indiana comes to Maryland for homecoming. Then you got Michigan still, Michigan State. So you got some tough games that you got to look forward to. So we'll see how it plays out. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll be live. I'll do a pregame live stream for the Ravens as they get ready to take Texans. We'll see what happens there. Vote on the poll. I don't have a poll up, but let us know how you feel. Check out my preview for the game. Check out all the content throughout the week, all the watch-alongs, all the live streams. All the content is there for you to get lost in on the channel. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. Let me know what you're looking forward to as we move into another week of Maryland football. I don't know. Maybe next week we'll do a live stream watch-along. We'll do something live where we'll watch the game together. Maybe we'll try that out. 3:30 start. Maybe we can do that. And yeah, we'll rock out there as well. And we'll see how it feels. We'll rock out and see maybe how the live stream watch along works out there. And yeah, kind of go from there and hopefully Maryland can get a win. That'd be nice for them to get a win and be able to get back on track. You don't want to wallow in this. You want to hold on to it for 24 hours, then you want to move on. But this is a demoralizing loss at the least, and it's something that's going to be it's going to stick with them. The best way to get over this, they're going to have to win the game, and they're going to have to find a way to beat a Nebraska team who's probably, 4-1. They may be maybe better than Washington. I don't know. We'll see. They got some weapons, and they can run the ball too. Raiola doesn't have to do it all himself, so that's going to be something to look at as well. So, we'll see what happens there, and I just hope they can learn from this. I thought they had it today. I picked them to win. Unfortunately, that was a kiss of death, as it always is. And Maryland loses 24-20, and they're both now 4-1. Washington with the head-to-head victory, and that's kind of what happens there when you have a situation like that. And yeah, Washington comes over here and gets the big win. And yeah, they outcoached them in the second half. They outcoached them. They outplayed them. Their stars outplayed the Maryland Stars. Maryland self-inflicted strike yet again. And his freshman team, inexperienced. Unfortunately, offense getting stagnant, not able to convert and move the ball and run the ball effectively. Only, 16 yards through 3 quarters after 39 in the first quarter. Defensively, unfortunately, no pass rush and cast, not being able to get off the field on third down, which Washington, I talked about in the preview, was one of the best teams in the nation, in the conference, the best in the conference at converting third downs. So for them to not be able to get them off the field on third down in the second half, it really did them in. The defense was tired, chasing around Damon Williams. No Sidney Stewart, Josiah Mathis. They double team him. Then Boston goes off. And then, like I said, the Washington defense, they came to the party. Bryant, McLaughlin, they were their defensive coordinator looked great. He could be a future head coach in the college football ranks. He looks like he knows what he's doing. So that's going to be something to look forward to as well. But, you're looking at the keys. They didn't really. They kept Damon Williams contained for the first half. They kept him contained. They did it. They did get out to a fast start. They started fast. The crowd was hot. Malik Washington, was he sacked today? I don't know if he was sacked. I said no sacks, but let me make sure. I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me see. I'm like, was he sacked? I don't remember. But they didn't find a way to run the ball. They did at first, but then they didn't. Wide receivers and tight ends went against their DBs. No, because they had some drops and they could have won more. Damon Williams keep him in a pocket. They did for the most part. I'll give them a tag on that. And they stopped the run for the most part. And they didn't get off, but they didn't get off the field on third down. And they didn't create enough pressure in crucial moments. They did force a turnover, but Malik Washington was sacked. He wasn't sacked. He was kept clean. The offensive line does a hell of a job. They're doing a hell of a job with the pass protection. They are keeping Malik's jersey clean, which we want to see from the quarterback at the end of the day. But running game, they got to get a push. They got to be nasty. They got to get some road graders in there that can help push the opposing defensive line and really be physical at the point of attack and really be able to assert their will and not play with their food and like I said, put the other defense in a precarious position where they're worn down, tired, and by the third, fourth quarter, they're gassed. Their defense had plenty of energy because they couldn't run the ball, pretty much were one-dimensional, and they were, like he said, Coach Loxley said, they were pretty much up on those RPOs. They were pretty much playing man and then dropping in the zone, taking away the short passes. So, it sucks there. Justin, we got a whole state of teams choking. We had the Commanders choke last week against the Falcons. They let them come back to life. The Ravens have choked consistently over the past few years, especially under John Harbaugh. If you look at the numbers, the Terps 0-10 under Mike Loxley as well. That's crazy. And like I said, I don't want Malik Washington throwing 50 times a game, 49 times. I don't want Malik Washington throwing that much. I don't think that's needed. But let's hear some more from Loxley real quick. Wanted to hear some more what he had to say. Let's play more Loxley, and then we'll get out of here real quick. Let's play a little Loxley since it looks like we are good. Let's play a little Loxley.
And you mentioned, of course, it's a young team, and they're still learning a lot of things, but a lot of people will, and the folks that were here today will perhaps think this is similar to things that have happened in years past based on the track record. What would you say to them?
I would say that we're defined in the present. I won't get into, this year's team can't be like any other team to be compared to because it's this year's team. And so, do I expect it? Of course. It should be expected for me. But for us, we're going to be defined by what we do this year, what we're doing with this team. And so if you look at comparisons and you look at history, then you'd say that. But I can tell you based on the way that what I've seen from this team and how I saw they responded in the locker room just now, we'll be defined by what we do and how we move forward.
And Mike, in the fourth quarter, as Washington's going down and continuing to score, your offense is kind of starting to struggle. Was there a sense of inevitability you guys felt on the sideline in the fourth quarter as that score is getting closer and closer?
If it's a sense of what?
Inevitability.
No, because we don't really watch the scoreboard. To be honest, we play to the next play. We worry about trying to execute, and it comes down to executing, which, again, as I said before, in the third quarter, on offense and on defense, I didn't feel we executed great in the late third quarter. We got a touchdown drive, I think the second drive of the second half, and then on offense, we couldn't generate enough explosives.
And then you talked about kind of the stakes of this game, coming in at 4-0, sellout crowd. Is there some sort of mental hurdle that you said this is a young team, but you're an experienced coach? Is there some sort of mental hurdle that you have to get over in spots like this?
No, I think I'm good on the mental piece. I usually take care of my mentals. I think what I have to do is focus on evaluating kind of what happened, why it happened, and how I can get it fixed. And to me, that's what good.
You heard from Loxley there. He's going to be defined by what they do next. His team is going to be defined by what they do next. His coaching staff, his coaching legacy will be defined by what they do next because what he's done hasn't worked. 0-10 in the bye, going into a tough Nebraska team. If you lose that game, you're 4-2. Having to go out west, it will not be easy, to say the least. But 4-1, that is probably, that is a great, like I said, when I did my preview, I said, could they be 5-1 after 6? I said 5-1 after 6. So that means they either win against Washington, lose against Nebraska, lose against Washington, win against Nebraska. All in front of them to still do. And still going out west to UCLA, I still think they have a chance. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned for more content on the channel. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell. I'm getting ready to get out of here. Enjoy your Saturdays, everybody. We're going to do a Ravens pregame show tomorrow. We'll do a pregame stream where I'll get on here, preview the game. Because I want to see who all these inactives are. I want to see who the inactives are. So we're going to do a pregame stream tomorrow. We're going to do a pregame stream tomorrow. And we'll do that. We'll rock out. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with that as well. Peace out, everybody. Thank you for watching. Peace.